Are you looking for a coffee cake with the perfect crumb and a delicious streusel? Well, this is the recipe for you. Hi, and you're watching Plating It with Wendy, where I share with you recipes which are pressed with ease. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and comment. And if you enjoy trying out recipes that turn out right every time, and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead, press that subscribe button. And while you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll be the first to get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's get started. Now we're going to bring together the streusel. For that, we're going to go in with 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. To sweeten it up, we're going to add 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar. And now we're going to flavor it with 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And you could always adjust the cinnamon to taste. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt and just a pinch of baking powder. And now we're going to whisk this together so that all the flavors blend. Let's add 1/2 cup of butter. And now we're going to go in with our clean fingers and mix it together till we get that perfect crumble. Just coating the butter with the flour and the sugar. And now that the streusel is ready, let's keep it aside and mix up our cake. To the bowl of our stand mixer, we're going to add 3/4 cup of room temperature unsalted butter. You could also use a hand mixer for mixing the cake. And now to that, we're going to add 1 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. And now we're going to beat the butter and the sugar up for approximately 6 to 8 minutes while increasing the speed from low to high. What we're trying to do over here is incorporate a lot of air into the butter. So we're going to beat it up till it turns light, pale and fluffy. After about every 2 minutes, you want to scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl before you start beating it again. Now let's get back on our way to beating it for another 2 minutes. The butter has turned nice and pale, and we know that there's a lot of air incorporated in it. Now let's add in the next ingredient. For a nice soft texture and a delicate crumb to the cake, we're going to add in 1 1/4 cup of sour cream. And if you don't have sour cream on hand, you could always substitute with Greek yogurt. And now we're going to flavor it with 1 1/2 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. Now on a medium speed, we're going to blend these together. On a medium-low speed, we're going to start adding in 3 large eggs, which are at room temperature. And we're going to add them one at a time and mix till just incorporated. Make sure that all your ingredients, even the sour cream, is at room temperature. We're going to mix our dry ingredients separately in a bowl before we start adding it into the wet. For that, we're going to add 2 1/2 cups of cake flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Now let's mix this all together till they get well blended. Okay, with our mixer on a low speed, now we're going to start adding the dry ingredients to the wet, and we're going to do this in 3 additions. And now we're going to finish mixing it by hand, scraping down the sides so that we get any of the dry ingredients that's stuck over there, and also scraping down the bottom. And now use the cut and fold method to give it a last mix. You don't want to take out any of that air that we have incorporated into the batter. Okay, the batter is looking perfect now. Everything is well mixed. So let's keep it aside and start layering up our cake. I've got my oven preheating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to be using a 9 by 9 cake pan. And I've lined it with parchment paper with a little bit of an overhang. This is going to make it easy for us to take out our coffee cake and cut it. And now we're going to add half of the cake batter at the bottom. Now using an offset spatula, I'm just going to spread it down all across the cake pan. Try to get an even layer so that the bottom of the cake is of one level. And now we're going to take the streusel we had made earlier and we're going to put it on the top of this layer. This makes the coffee cake so delicious. Wow. And we're going to add in about 3/4 of the portion that we made. Giving some of that goodness to top the cake with. And now we're going to put another layer of the cake batter on the top. Just gently going to put it. Just layering it with dollops so that afterwards we can spread it out. And back again. We're going to go in with our offset spatula, and with a very light hand, you're going to spread the cake batter across the cake pan. And now we're going to put a layer of the streusel on the top of the cake. And you want those little lumps of streusel around the cake because they really give the cake a lovely look when it's baked. Just going to add in a little more. And now we're going to pop this into the oven and bake it for approximately 50 to 60 minutes until a toothpick inserted into the center of the cake comes out clean. Our coffee cake has cooled, so now it's time for us to take it out of the baking tray and cut it. And now we're going to use these overhangs that we had kept when lining the cake tray to pull it up. Wow, look at that. Just going to cut it down here. Now you could cut it into slices or into cubes. And wow, look at that. That's that layer of the streusel that we have put in the center. Give it another cut down this side. Oh my goodness. And now it's time to give our coffee cake a taste. And I'm really excited because this is my favorite cake to have with a cup of coffee. Wow, just see that streusel on the top and in between. Perfect. Wow, this cake, it's so delicious and it just melts in your mouth. And I love that little crunch that you get from the streusel. And it really takes it over the top. I hope you give this recipe a try. So hop onto my website, platingitwithwendy.com, where you will find the full written recipe. Thanks for watching. See you soon.